Hey, hey, you've made it to the trailer of the Intercultured with Anya Doula podcast. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you made it, and I cannot wait to connect with you. So I just wanted to take this time to introduce the podcast to you and introduce myself to you and let you know what you can expect from this podcast. The Intercultured with Anya Doula podcast is a bi-weekly audio collage of motherhood, culture, birth work, and travel. Those are all the things that I love. I have an extensive professional background in nursing, education, and all things women's health. I'm a mompreneur, doula, blogger, podcaster, solo traveler, soccer mom, and I'm an Army veteran. And there are probably some other titles that I've left off, but I like to just think of myself under the big umbrella of Renaissance Mama. And I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of you who can use that same title. And in fact, I will be bringing other women and other mamas onto the show who do share that title so that they can share a lot of the phenomenal work that they're doing as mothers, the phenomenal work that they are doing as women who are taking care of mothers, the phenomenal work that they are doing in their communities for their own advancement, for the advancement of their families, just, a lot of mama love to throw around. I want to bring all of those experiences together with women and mothers across cultures to discuss how we #do motherhood. So that hashtag is the official hashtag of the Intercultured with Anya Doula podcast. So when you are listening to the podcast and when you are sharing, and I'm going to just thank you in advance right now for doing that, for listening and for sharing. When you're doing those things, please #do motherhood, #intercultured. And yeah, let's be community and let's create a really cool community together. What can you expect from the Intercultured podcast? The Intercultured podcast will be a bi-weekly podcast that is sometimes going to be solo episodes, meaning it will be me and you, and I'll just be talking about the things that I'm doing as a doula, as a mother, as a community member, and all of those other things. And then there will be other times when I have guests on the show. So you can expect there to be a little bit of both worlds. You will hear or you will see that the podcast drop every Monday. Not that you have to tune in every Monday, but I hope that you do. You absolutely should try to keep up with me. But no, it will come out every other Monday, or the first episode will be on February 17th. And then from then, every other Monday, there will be a new episode. I am so excited about the guests that I have coming on the show. I think you will be excited about them. So why is this podcast called Intercultured? The podcast is referred to as the Intercultured Podcast because intercultured is a term that I like to think of myself as. By definition, an intercultured person is a person who has respect and admiration for other cultures and a deep appreciation for other cultures. So I was raised in the military. I grew up an Army brat. I myself joined the military, and my entire life has been moving from place to place, meeting people from all over the world. My work as a nurse had me taking care. I worked in New York City as a nurse. I went to nursing school in Washington, D.C. Worked as a nurse in New York City, worked as a nurse in the Army hospital at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And so I've taken care of people. And then I also, of course, worked in Houston as a nurse. So I've been taking care of people from all over the world, for almost 20 years, y'all. Almost 20 years. That's amazing. Let me give myself a pat on the back. So it's easy for me to kind of float between cultures. And when I say culture, I'm not only referring to racial and ethnic identity, I am also referring to the groups that we find ourselves in our everyday lives, whether it's work related or hobby related or familial related or religious affiliation related, all of those things, all of those categories can be how we identify ourselves, or we can identify ourselves in several different cultural groups. And my goal for the podcast is to bring other women together so that we can all share and so that we can all learn from one another. I think that you will find, because you're going to listen for a very long time, I think that you will find that even if there is a certain group that you did not think that you would identify with in any way, that you will hear some things and realize, wow, I have a lot more in common with that group, or I have a lot more in common with that person than I ever thought that I would. In fact, I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I'm pretty certain that that is what's going to happen, because that's just the way it works. Because most of the time, people are a lot more alike than they are different. So that is why the podcast is called Intercultured. I have introduced myself. My name is Anya, and I cannot wait to connect with you. One last thing about me, or it's really not about me, but I want to share just a little bit about my boys. I really can't refer to them as boys anymore. They are certainly young men. In fact, it's quite inappropriate for me to keep calling them boys, but you know, I'm always going to be a boy mama. My oldest son, his name is Johari. He is 24 years old, and he is in his final semester of law school here at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. TSU, I thought you knew, that is my alma mater. So we are super proud as a family of him for doing his thing and staying the course. And yeah, we're just super proud of him. That's my Leo right there. And then I have a 16-year-old named Bryce, and he is my soccer player. He is currently playing for the Houston Dynamo Academy. And again, so super proud of him. He set a goal when he was 9 years old to be in the Houston Dynamo Academy. In fact, it was a directive that he gave me for how to get him to this point. And so we're at this point, and we'll see what happens going forward. But I'm super proud of him as well. That is my Cancer baby. And we're just, living the dream, living the life. And I can't wait to connect with you so I can see how y'all living. That's it. I think we have come to the end of the trailer. I cannot wait to connect with you. Remember that February 17th is going to be the official, I don't know if we call it a launch date on podcast. I have no idea. Launch date, drop date. I kind of like drop date. I'm going to drop it on February 17th, which is a Monday. It's actually President's Day, y'all. So you're going to be off from work. Maybe. A lot of people will be off from work. Even if you're not off from work, go, it'll be short. Go take a break. Go take a break and tune into the podcast. All right, I'm done. I can't wait to connect with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you or talk to you on February 17th. And until then, be good.